Well, hello everyone. Since I did play the Avengers game beta, I figure why not provide my thoughts on the two streams I did of playing the game. The footage shown is during, of course, my two streams that I was playing on PS4 because of the public beta that was going on, while I could have, if I had pre-ordered, played on PC or the Xbox One, but I just didn't want to pre-order a game that I was unfamiliar with, so. But the premise of the game is that Marvel's Avengers is an epic third-person action-adventure game that combines an original cinematic story with single-player and cooperative gameplay. Assemble into a team of up to 4 players online, master extraordinary abilities, customize a growing roster of heroes, and defend the Earth from escalating threats. But of course, for the story, the beta, of course, starts Marvel's Avengers at A-Day, where Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Thor are unveiling a new high-tech Avengers headquarters in San Francisco, which we of course don't really get to see. We only get to see them on stage. But this celebration turns deadly when a mysterious enemy causes a catastrophic accident which results in massive devastation and essentially creates Inhumans. No. But with said devastation and whatnot, the Avengers did get blamed.
Damage on an unprecedented scale. Our beloved Captain America was killed during the attempted theft of this technology. Thousands of other innocent people died, and many more still bear the scars of what has come to be known as A-Day. Hundreds fell sick, encased in strange cocoons,
Yep,
only to
Inhumans.
emerge with dangerous, otherworldly powers. With no known cure, the disease has spread across the country, and while both S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers promised to rectify the situation, it was Dr. Banner's testimony that brought about the end of an era.
You so-called heroes transformed San Francisco into an infectious, gas-filled quarantine zone. You unleashed diseased, powerful beings that wreak havoc throughout our nation. Many still lay dormant, unidentified. So I ask you again, Dr. Banner, do the Avengers pose a danger to society?
Yes. Their activities outlawed, the once mighty heroes disbanded. But out of tragedy is born hope. After the government liquidation of Stark Industries, Dr. George Tarleton, himself a victim of A-Day and founder of Advanced Idea Mechanics,
AIM,
thinks
really.
science is the solution to our nation's problems.
I wish I knew what happened to Captain Rogers that day, but I was nowhere near the reactor room. AIM will find a cure for the inhuman disease.
It's not a disease. Oh my god. Which, of course, if anyone knows who AIM is, they literally are always bad guys in anything relating to Marvel, so. Why? Like, I don't know whether to say, like, I think it's only because of the fact of that they didn't contact any other Inhumans. That's why they were completely thinking it's disease. It's not a disease, because technically, it was the Kree that made the Inhumans to begin with. So, and of course, they got pushed away from Earth. Well, I'm just like, are you kidding me? They literally are acting like Terrigenesis is a disease when all it was honestly the Kree messing with human DNA, and because I'm pretty sure they were going to try to use Inhumans as a weapon in their war. 5 years later, with all the superheroes outlawed and the world in peril, a sprawling adventure ignites when a determined young woman named Kamala Khan, also known as Miss Marvel, I'm sure they'll probably label her as Miss Marvel later on in the story, sets out to reassemble and rebuild the Avengers to stop the unchecked power of the secretive new force known as AIM. I was playing on easy eventually. At first I was playing on normal, but as the game literally kept getting harder during the beginning, I was just like, screw it, and just set it to easy, because the devs think that playing with others will make the gameplay rather simple, but even on easy I was still dying a lot, but that could just be because of my own competence. But my favorite characters during the beta to play as were Iron Man, Thor, and kind of Miss Marvel, while I'm not too sure of how I feel about playing as Black Widow, Hulk, and Captain America. With that being said, Iron Man I definitely like the most, as you're able to evade attacks with flight for the most part, for like melee attacks and whatnot, but I sadly couldn't figure out how to activate lasers and rocket weapons, even though I unlocked them during the gameplay and whatnot. His Hulkbuster armor, uh, Ultra Mega Super Attack was great while fighting enemies with beefy health stats, as if I was essentially the Hulk and whatnot. But you have to watch your power meter, otherwise, you'll end up losing the suit while in a fight. Which, as far as I can tell, it's when you put it on and take it off, that animation is a good little buffer of, hey, you don't have to deal with dealing damage at all. As far as I can tell, I might be wrong, and they might even change that during when the game actually goes public, but we'll have to just wait and see. Thor, I did enjoy playing for the use of Mjolnir alone, just because I love throwing the hammer at people. But if it sucks that you're limited to just the beginning part of the beta, which I'm sure it's going to be the same situation when the game comes out, that you won't be getting him until you get that story progress of meeting Thor in the story, which really sucks. So if you're looking forward to playing Thor, it's going to suck that you're only going to be able to do that first portion of the fighting and whatnot in the gameplay, and that's it until you probably see him again later in the story, whenever that will be. But my favorite part, definitely playing as Thor, was when I was playing around with the physics of the hammer, and when you throw the hammer off over the horizon and hear the touchdown, you actually feel the vibration of the hammer's touchdown on the ground. Oh, I can't see that. Oh, that is cool though. Oh, it just. Damn, I felt that vibration of the landing. I was disappointed though that there was no crashing sounds as the hammer went through objects to be received again, nor any like physical damage to the environment when that happened. That was pretty disappointed, but it's understandable that that would probably take much more simple environmental simulation to shatter and whatnot, especially if you do it repeated times. It probably would be too much, but it just felt obviously fake in that situation. But Miss Marvel I definitely found to be more useful than Hulk due to her special moves like hand pushing and of course being huge and whatnot. But also when you use the power meter while attacking, you are in the grown state, so it's like a double damage, which is much better than how you would normally do your damage for those said moves. So I definitely like Miss Marvel better than the Hulk in general. Damn, giant hand much. Black Widow I hated during the one-on-one fight with Taskmaster, just because I really did not understand why the devs thought you needed to essentially be glued to him, even though you're supposed to be trying to dodge and hit him while he's also still has some sort of invisible shield going on. So I just hated that whole entire fight sequence, because I would have hoped for dodging and whatnot that the gun portion of her fight was, but instead they're like, oh yeah, try out her melee stuff. Guess what? I probably won't be playing as her whenever I do get the game. I probably won't be playing as her, because when I streamed it the second time, I purposely was just playing as Iron Man because I wanted to just enjoy the flying and see how his combat was. So I'll have to play more of Black Widow just to whether I actually don't like her combat system or not. I don't know. The Hulk, of course, as I said, I'm not that much of a fan, and I wasn't too excited, as many times I had to purposely do jump slams on the ground in order to decrease the amount of enemies swarming me, because you can be really swarmed quickly, and you just gotta make sure to just constantly be punching everyone so that you're not getting that whole swarmingness, and it sucks having some guys literally blocking your attacks, so you're forced to have to do the jump slams in order to knock them off balance and whatnot. I was definitely disappointed that when grabbing an enemy, you couldn't do a movie reference of like slamming the enemy to the ground. That Hulk does that in the Avengers film with Loki. That would have been very nice little reference to the movie, but I'm guessing that they didn't want to have to copy the same thing that technically the Lego Avengers game did that, and I believe maybe Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 did the same thing, but I'm guessing they just didn't want to make that same reference for some reason. I don't know.
They get here so fast.
Oh man. There we go. Captain America, I of course only got to play during the beta, and his shield physics are obviously just as fake as Thor getting the hammer back when the shield just magnetically comes back to you after you throw it at like an angle and whatnot. But he was definitely fun overall, I find, for just the short sequence, of course, because they want to make you think he died. But more than likely, I'm sure they're gonna end up trying to do maybe some time travel thing that's like a last like 10 seconds right before the explosion happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do some time jumping thing so that he does get included, because the marketing is like, oh yeah, be Captain America. I'm like, how are you gonna be Captain America if you're dead? So more than likely for the story they're gonna be doing some sort of time thing, unless he's somehow stuck in an alternate dimension due to the freaking explosion. But we don't know. We just know that during said cinematic, he is simply death. So, and they for the pre-orders they purposely did a Captain America statue. So we will just have to wait and see how the story unravels his mysterious disappearance or death, however that'll be. There we go. In my opinion, the game definitely made me think purely of playing Ultimate Alliance franchise, which I only been finished those games, but it just made me think of that, but of course with a closer camera view of over the shoulder, and of course the Destiny RPG equipment system. But I noticed that some reviewers aren't a fan of the hero's appearance not changing with the Destiny related equipment upgrade that you can do, like, just because I'm guessing they just didn't want, they wanted just to keep the different looks. That way, your money, if you do buy the season pass or whatever unlocks you have of the character, that stuff will stay. Which I just find it odd that there isn't battle damage. Especially if you go down and whatnot, you would think that your hero would retain some battle damage, but there's none, which is really odd. But it's understandable because it's like this way you have picture perfect. Oh, this is how your hero looks perfect, even though they're not perfect. They can easily fix that and improve the heroes if they want to in the final game. But probably won't, since they never fixed anything based off of the first wave of access on the PS4. So my last thoughts for the game, though, is that I would prefer there would be a following system slash stopping system, so that when you're just journeying through the environment, an AI say wouldn't get stuck like it happened to me with the Hulk, where he got stuck on an invisible wall when I purposely was just going on top of a quick little building for the hell of it, and all the AI followed me. While of course the Hulk got stuck, and he would just became unuseful when I did the major battle in the same environment blocks away in, I think, New York, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But it just sucked because we needed his extra AI like pounding the enemies, so I was stuck having to just deal with Miss Marvel and Black Widow. So, which isn't that bad, but it's just the fact of there was a few beefy people that I had to just go heavy on, try to do all my power without the Hulk, sadly. So it just definitely sucked. But of course, it was when you get in the elevator that all of the AI just get teleported to you. So I'm sure that was their way of being like, oh, this way the AI still joins you inside the building. It's like, really? It's just a teleport. That's all it is. I definitely don't plan to be getting the game until sales are happening for it, as the gameplay I'm not too much of a fan of, because I originally thought the game was going to be open world related. That would have been amazing if they had done what like the Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Avengers game did, where it's an open world environment that you go do different tasks. And if they had done that route and had even like PS4 Spider-Man where you have the different crimes. That would have been amazing to actually have that whole situation going on. But for some reason, they stuck with just, hey, you get to traverse if it's an open world environment or if it's a linear environment with just a big environment and whatnot. Like that's pretty much what they decided to do is just, hey, you go to this mission, that's a big environment, but and I don't even think there's any side missions involved. It just depends on how long it takes you to get through each different mission with either AI or your friends, which of course I don't have any, nor did I do I have PlayStation Plus to play with randoms because you're able to technically do that. I just didn't have PlayStation Plus, so I wasn't playing with that. I was only playing with AI just to experience the combat and what little story they showed, which I never figured out how to progress the story, so I because I didn't want to have to replay whatever missions if I had to. I had no idea how to progress whatever stories with the limited amount of time I got to streaming the game. Like I said, I definitely don't plan on getting the game until sales, and if I really care about the story, I'll just end up watching the various cinematic movies that people will be uploading, of course. So, that's all for the story. Because I can easily just enjoy the gameplay when the game becomes available in the price range I want it. So that is my thoughts on the Avengers game beta. I doubt much is going to change with how Square Enix, I believe, is the developers. I'm sure that they're not going to change much other than simply bug fixes and of course whatever character add-ons get added to the game, which I was really surprised to see that Spider-Man, they like were teasing for the PlayStation, but the character won't even be coming out until I think March of 2021. So it doesn't even really matter unless there are hardcore fans being like, "Oh, I'm returning for Spider-Man." I'm like, "Really?" Like I won't be surprised if they do that, but I won't be surprised if like December they release Hawkeye or something. So which they only on it as far as I can tell, they only did Hawkeye just because people were like, "Oh, where's Hawkeye?" Because they were showing all the characters. It's like, "Where's Hawkeye? He's an Avengers member." And for some reason they made him look very generic. They honestly they should have kept mask like purple outfit and whatnot as far as I can tell with the way that they did it, but that's my thoughts on the beta. Be sure to let me know what you thought of the beta and let me know what characters you can't wait to see. It'll be definitely interesting to see if there will be extra. I'm sure there will be extra missions for every single character, but it'll be interesting to see like how they handle including like say Ant-Man or if they include Wasp as well. I'm sure they will, but who knows? But with that said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to tell me what platform you do plan on playing the game on, as of course they all will be graphically different, I'm sure, depending on what platform you play on. I will see you all next time. Bye for now.